What is going on, everybody? Welcome into maybe the grossest Thursday night slate we've had of the season, and there's been some gross ones. I am your host, Rob Coakley. I am joined by Andre. Andre, are you excited? Are you pumped? Are you energized for the Tennessee Titans junior varsity squad against the Dallas Cowboys tonight?
Not really. They might as well just throw like us out there. Let us go out there, run on the field, and play a little bit.
I mean, I'd be min salary, but at least I'd be a viable option. I think.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
I think you could. I think you could. I definitely think I can too. I know I'm a little bit out of shape, but I think I can. Try to get a couple yards and maybe get a touchdown here and there.
Yeah, we could definitely be heroes in this game. Speaking of heroes, we are going to tell you about Stat Hero. And in case you haven't heard of Stat Hero, it's a unique fantasy sports platform that allows users to compete only against the house, not other players. Basically, you're playing DFS blackjack. It's you versus the dealer, you versus the house, and you're in a contest. You can participate in head-to-head style contest where Stat Hero provides a lineup that you have to beat with your own, as well as pick'em style contest. You should also check out the Big Dime League, a season-long leaderboard NFL contest with up to $50,000 in prizes. That's a lot of money, and we're hoping to win all of that. You can also enter all season long. Use promo code GRINDERS for a New Year's present of 50% deposit bonus up to $250, and jump into the action today over there on Stat Hero. Promo code GRINDERS. But now we have to start talking about this Titans Cowboys game, and it's a game. It's a football game. They're gonna play football. What's your initial takes on what you're going to be doing with some of these plays today?
Well, first of all, did you look at the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans profile picture?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up, and like he's Martian Manhunter, right?
Yes,
From DC.
I could not stop laughing. That's the first thing I noticed. I could not stop laughing. Oh my gosh.
Like he is definitely from another planet, and he thinks he has a great disguise on right now, is what's going on.
Exactly.
That it's like, all right, this is what we're dealing with tonight. But this is what we are dealing with tonight. And I think it's the last Thursday night game too, right?
Yes, I believe so too. I don't think they have it for week 18 because week 18 they want to try to align all the games on one day that have implication for the playoffs and whatnot. So this is going to be a doozy. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think you should make your stacks like a 5-1 or 4-1, whatever it is. Like that's the route I would go for my overall view of this slate and looking at it. I don't really have interest in any of these Tennessee guys really much. Like, and they might get lucky and score though because I can see Dallas's secondary slacking off a little bit here.
Well, they do that consistently, right? They do that in big games. They do that in blowouts. It's a constant thing. I think we'll go probably position by position. The two things I think you do have to play on the slate, you have to play the Dallas defense. Like, I'm not saying you have to captain them, but I think they are like an automatic lock button. And I'm not even a defense guy on these single game slates usually, but we're talking a demolished offensive line on the Tennessee side, wide receivers that we just said that we should replace, Martian Manhunter in at quarterback. You got to play the Dallas defense. It's going to be a high owned play, but I don't know how you get away from it. And on the flip side, I think they're missing 8 defensive starters on Tennessee. So you're going to have to load up on Dallas's offense. It's just like if they go up and they get a defensive touchdown or two, are they going to start sitting guys on the Dallas side? Are you looking at more of the backups? So that's what we need to go through and kind of figure out what we're going to do with this slate. Hassan Haskins is the other Tennessee guy I would say that you need to probably be playing on a decent amount of lineups. But let's start at quarterback. Let's start with Dak, and let's start with Josh Dobbs. Not sure that's what I thought I was going to be saying last week when we booked this show, that we were looking at Dak Prescott versus Joshua Dobbs. But here we are. Do you have you have to be looking at playing a decent amount of Dak Prescott, right? Even that ownership number though is through the roof at 71%.
I definitely would be. The secondary is the easiest way to attack, though. But it doesn't matter with this game, honestly. But since pretty much like you said, a lot of the guys on the defensive side are out for Tennessee. It's just I don't know how long Dak is going to be in the game.
Right.
That's what would concern me here. So I don't mind getting. I definitely don't mind playing Dak and having a good amount of him. But I also like this is just a big GPP play. I don't mind getting some Cooper Rush here a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be in play because what if you're running 150 and you say a scenario where they're blowing them out and they just say, hey, you know what, we're going to rest these guys in the second half. Let's just go with Cooper Rush here. Cooper Rush could be a sort for a bigger game than what Dak could have. So those are the main two options I would go with probably if I'm running especially 150. And then paired up with some like an elite receiver and also a guy like Gallup who doesn't get that many, who gets a lot of reps, but he would probably be able to get more opportunities and more shine. Along with the T.Y. Hilton, with the Cooper Rush if this game wants to get completely out of hand.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of going to be the main focus of the way that I'm going to attack this game. If I'm playing any lineups at all, I'm playing some of the second and third pass catchers for the Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is going to be, we're showing 53% ownership right now. I would be willing to bet that's a little higher when everything locks and is said and done. I'm looking at Michael Gallup. I'm looking at Dalton Schultz. I'm looking at T.Y. Hilton to play in these spots because I think Dallas is going to do the majority of the scoring. CeeDee Lamb is a hell of a fade if you're fading him, but like you said, he might be sitting. We might be looking at some of these other guys, get T.Y. Hilton some reps just to get him back into game speed. So, some of the secondary tight ends, Ferguson for Dallas, right?
Yep.
Be looking at someone like him as well. Those for the pass catchers is what I would be doing. And on the flip side, I don't know. I guess play Traylon Burks. Like if you got to play a Tennessee Titan, you have to. It's in the rule book. You have to do it. So I'm looking at Haskins. I'm looking at Traylon Burks. I mean, it's not very, very pretty is what we're getting down to.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just having a hard time figuring out who my one guy would be. Like, is this an onslaught or is it a close game? Like, do I just want to run a kicker out there maybe because they might get the most points?
Yeah,
it's very wild. But I know the Tennessee side would be very limited to what my exposures would be. Like you said, Chestnut, Haskins. Those are the guys I would probably be looking at because it probably was split time. Burks, I don't mind taking some shots on. He's a very talented receiver. Maybe they'll get him some work, find different ways to get the ball to his hands a lot more here. And Westbrook Achille here as well, too. So it's very possible for that to happen, but the likelihood of you just want to get a decent score with them. Like that's the thing. Like you want to figure out who has the upside to get you, I guess, from Tennessee, maybe 10, 15 fantasy points the most. I guess if that's what you want to consider the most, because I think that's the most that probably someone's going to give you, unless somehow, some way Tennessee comes to ball and goes all out and finds a way to win this game.
Yeah. While I'm looking at these ownerships for some of these flex spots, and we're talking about the Tennessee Titans, Chig and Austin Hooper are looking like real low-owned plays. We have a third-string quarterback coming in that's probably going to look for his safety valves, you would assume. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that we know a ton about Josh Dobbs. We've seen him play just a little bit. But maybe they're just going to be looking to do some, little over-the-middle stuff to these guys. They might be the run backs you need for Tennessee. Not saying that they're going to put up a 20 or 30-point game, but if they get 4, 5, 6 catches, rack up 30 to 50 yards, that might be who you need in this game to go back with your Dallas players. Exactly. Typically we're like, we need to go and play the opposite of what the field is thinking. Everyone thinks Dallas is going to kill Tennessee. This is one of those games that I just cannot bring myself to go even with an even like 3-3 on it. It has to be at most 4-2 Dallas Cowboys. So Robert Woods could, you know what? Robert Woods is also probably a great play just for everything we said about the tight ends. So maybe instead of looking at some of these home run guys, we look at like the possession guys just so that they can get Dobbs going. Are you going to play Dobbs at all if you're running multiple lineups?
If I am running multiple lineups, I would definitely play maybe one lineup with Dobbs. So just like you said, the possession receivers. So that's a very, very, very big and key point here. The possession receivers are big, will be big for me in this game because one catch is 1 point. So if they get targeted 10 times, catches the ball 5 times, and then that's at least a minimum of 5 fantasy points, and then rack up the yards there. So that's something I definitely want to try to key in more here. And like you said, and I love the Chig call. The Chig, I forgot about him, but I think him and Hooper are very good plays today on this slate.
Yeah, you got to run it back. Everyone's looking to do it with Hassan Haskins. Makes a ton of sense. You have no Derrick Henry tonight. People have been dying for Haskins to get some playing time. He's 3K, which helps you do whatever you want to do over on DraftKings, but it's not like you get a ton of high-priced variables on this game that you want to get anyway. So maybe we just take some shots on Austin Hooper. We take some shots on Chig, take some shots on Robert Woods. Hell, maybe even do some sort of Dak double with the defense, and then you run back a tight end, and Robert Woods is probably the way I would really like to play this game more than anything. It hurts to tout a defense. It just hurts my soul because it's not in my essence to do it, but I think you have to have that Dallas defense in your lineup. Who are you looking at for your captain mostly tonight?
That's tough because I would do it based on the game script. If you think it's going to be definitely either Zeke or CeeDee Lamb, because I think if they have a big game and blow up, possibly maybe Dalton Schultz too, because I can see them maybe getting throw some touchdowns to him. It's only a few guys. The Cowboys defense obviously has to be in consideration there for sure, without a doubt. I'm not that high on Dak as a captain, but I understand why. We just really haven't seen like the rushing this year really a lot from him, which I would love for him to do a lot more of, because if he's running a lot more like he was in the past, like I know he got like 6 attempts last game for 41 yards, 5 for 20, 6 for 23. Like the last 3 games have been pretty decent, but I want a little bit more. So he's going to have a big game passing for me to consider him as a captain, but I don't know if that's the route they're going to go. But if you do, then definitely pair with at least 2 pass catchers if he's going to be a captain. But I still would prefer just these pass catchers or the running back or tight end here in this spot, or the defense.
All right, I'm going to throw out a little secret one for you if you're playing multiple lineups. I think if you're playing multiple lineups, your captain spot on at least one of your teams, I would want to take a shot with Malik Davis today for a lot of the reasons that we have already laid out. We have no Tony Pollard. They are not going to want to run Zeke 30 times tonight. It's just not something they're going to want to do. Malik Davis is, 5'5". We're looking at 13% projected ownership on him as we speak. Maybe he'll get a little higher than that. But I think he's going to get a lot of run tonight. Like, I think you're almost going to see him in a Tony Pollard-esque role, because we've already talked about, like, they're going to want to rest starters. If they rest any starter at all on the offensive side, who's the starter they want to rest more than Dak Prescott? It's Zeke, right?
Zeke. Yep, you're right. That's some great GPP play.
Right. So if you're playing, multiple lineups, Malik Davis, I think, kind of pops out to me as being one of the main guys I'd be looking to captain on my lineups. And it correlates with your defense. You can still play one or two of those Titan run backs, and you can get everything to work in this economy with all these cheap plays that we have on both sides.
Yeah, and then you can, like you said, leaving a lot of that's about my next point to bring up. You're leaving a lot on the salary on the table, which a lot of guys are afraid of doing,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're hand building lineups. So, and no one's going to get to Malik Davis hand building. Very few will probably get to him that's entering 150 as well. So, I love that call actually. Like, I love that call a lot. Like, I just feel like I want to make one lineup right now,
Throw Malik
just
Davis in the captain.
yeah, to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to definitely smash, but like I think he's going to get a ton of run. I think he's going to catch some passes here and there, and hell, he might be the one that scores one or two of these touchdowns. They just let him grind out the second half. He gets 61 and 3 catches for 30, and it's enough to get you the captain spot, especially if they switch quarterbacks, especially if they go from Dak to Cooper Rush in like the third or fourth quarter, and they just kind of grinded it out. Maybe play him with the kicker or something like that. Get a little, Dallas kicker, Dallas D, Malik Davis, Robert Woods bring back, and you're off to the races. No one else is really going to want to do that. Like you said, leaving salary on the table, it's like a condition for people. They cannot do it. It's like, I have to spend this money. And a lot of times it makes sense. This game, it doesn't really make that much sense. There's not plays. There is no Derrick Henry. There is no Ryan Tannehill to hope that something happens here. So that's kind of like what I have for both sides of this game. Do you have any other thoughts before we start taking some questions? Maybe ask you about some of your season-long stuff as well.
No, like I'm actually trying to. I'm like literally like now you got me really like the brain rolling and thinking about lineups to make with this. Like is it too crazy to play both quarterbacks?
I don't think so.
I like that's something that no one's gonna do. You play Dak Prescott and you play Cooper Rush,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't put you have to sacrifice something here if you're gonna play Malik Davis in it as well, which is probably the defense. So you just gotta hope that the defense doesn't blow up and have a monster game here. And they just play fairly well and do their normal thing. And you have the necessary targets and pass catchers to outscore them. I think that's actually kind of a good, a far far out there GPP play. But if you're going for like 500K or $1 million, that might pay off and win you a tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's definitely viable. It's something that I'm looking to do. I think I'm playing one lineup tonight, to be completely transparent, and I think it's going to be a Malik Davis captain, just to have some sort of sweat on this game, to make it watchable, so that I can, I have no sweat in best ball in terms of players for myself, but I'm like anti-sweating certain players tonight. So that's the juxtaposition of what we do in this industry, right? Like, we have to root for certain things here and root against the same thing here. So why not just pile onto that and do some more of that? Let's take some questions in the chat, which the one that I saw was the 12K question.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
I do like producer Steve says, get really different. Use Noah Brown and captain. I don't hate it. I don't hate playing Noah Brown tonight. That's a good call. I think any of, when we brought up the secondary pass catchers, we were talking about Dalton Schultz, Ferguson, T.Y. Hilton. They might give Noah Brown a ton of run tonight, just to just because they do have to have bodies out there. If they sit people, other people still have to play. So I do not hate the call on Noah Brown. Do you play best ball at all? Might as well.
I do definitely play best ball, and it just wasn't.
Not a good year.
Nope, not a good year. I had too much. I had too much. I had too much Jameis Winston, too much Mike Thomas, and too. So my seasons were done early, and then I also had too much Lamar Jackson. So,
man,
yeah, everything pretty much for me just went down the drain quite early, and I was like, oh, well, next year.
Yeah. I didn't get anything into the main championships, but we do have 4 finals teams, and
nice.
We do have a fun 75K sweat because we have a 4% Dalvin Cook, and a 3% Najee Harris, and those were guys that I were not drafting. You look at my overall exposures of close to 600 teams, I was under 4% on both guys, I think. And somehow I have a team with them together, and somehow they're in the finals. And it's really going to hurt my brand if that team wins. It's going to hurt it so much. But for best ball tonight, we are anti-sweating. Obviously, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb for some of these things because I don't have them in any. But that just means that they're going to go off for 3 touchdowns. So if you know that, now you know to play Dak, you know to play CeeDee Lamb. It's so tough to talk about some of these games when it's just such a condensed tree of targets and people out injured. The Derrick Henry thing just really hurts for tonight. It just completely changes this game to a T. Yeah, so we were going to be sweating best ball. We are going to be,
aren't they like they still can make the playoffs with a division, right? If I'm correct,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's why they're resting people, because this game literally doesn't matter to them because they have the Jaguars next week. So if they beat the Jaguars next week, and they win, so this game matters not at all. So they have that little rare thing that we're going to see, every blue moon, where the week 17 matchup doesn't matter for them, but the week 18 does, because the NFL does try to do this where they stack up divisional games in week 18 to try to make them a little bit more meaningful, which makes a ton of sense from a marketing perspective, because week 18, the last week of the season, is always like a throwaway week. We saw Matt Flynn throw 6 touchdowns, 10, 11 years ago, whatever that was, get absolutely paid for it, and then still never start a game because they draft Russell Wilson, and he just ends up being the starter over there in Seattle. So I think stuff like that, they've tried to curtail as much as they can. They'll never be able to completely do that. So then you get stuff like this where Derrick Henry has to rest. Ryan Tannehill was already out. Yeah. Why are we not playing Malik Willis? Like, are you already out on him, Tennessee? Like, don't you want to see what you have?
I think they might want to just rest him. Like you said, maybe make sure he's fully healthy for that game and not banged up and hurt. Because wasn't he hurt coming into this game to begin with?
Oh, maybe I didn't see that, but that's a possibility.
I thought he was on the injury report, if I'm correct. And if that's the case, then yeah, I would be like, listen, if we just got to worry about beating Jacksonville next week, let's just rest that. But now that I know that's going to happen, Jacksonville Jaguars money line next week.
The one thing that I missed in this season, and I said it when they only had 2 wins, like, not that I'm like some like Nostradamus NFL expert, but I still thought Jacksonville was going to win this division, just because I thought they were the best team in it, and I thought they were going to find a way to get there. And I am kicking myself for not putting money on it when you could have got it at like really, really good odds. It was a mistake and a half to not do that. So.
Yeah, I wish I would have heard you say that, because I would throw somebody on that, because I really thought the Colts were going to win this division. Taylor, like, they seem primed to just do it. I thought Jacksonville was going to be just a year away. Like, next year, I thought they were going to do it, but they're early right now, and they have really good defense.
They are next year. So we do the best ball stuff, me and Eric Bienfor over at Spike Week, and we start talking about these teams in February.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is going to be the most hyped team of the entire year next year. They got Calvin Ridley coming in.
Yep.
This team is going to be like your favorite team's player type situation. I don't know, Andre, do you got anything else you want to hit on for tonight?
Not really. Like, this game, I think I said, is just straightforward. It's pretty much like I said, just play the different plays, play the backups to get different. Don't take some chances and play both quarterbacks together, because you never know. I think that's just a way to go tonight. I think it's pretty straightforward, but a weird in a way to get different. And don't be afraid to leave salary on the table to these guys, like everyone out there. I think that's the main thing too. People tend to be afraid to do that, but I think this is a good night to definitely do that. And I would not be surprised if we see the winner tonight on this slate, if it's not me or it's not you, leaving salary on the table tonight to win.
Yeah, the team I just put together, I left 11-5 over on DK on the table. So
I left like 7-9.
yeah, so I mean, it's totally possible that you're going to leave a ton of money on the table. All right, give me one quick bold call for tonight.
I'm going to say Cooper Rush throws 3 touchdowns in the second half.
3 touchdowns. All right, I dig it. I'm going to say Malik Davis, captain, wins all the money tonight, and the big GPP. That's what I'm going to win. Producer Steve, you got any bold takes for us? Not to put you on the spot.
Titans win outright.
Oh my God.
Something crazy. The Cowboys bench some guys in the second half, and the Titans win on a game-winning field goal.
Interesting. So low scoring. You're going to say low scoring then.
Low scoring. Definitely like 24-21, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I can see it. They go up 3 touchdowns. They start resting people, and they march back down, score 2 touchdowns, kick a field goal in the final 2 minutes, win the game. All right. I like it. Well, I think that's going to do it for us, Andre. For myself, for Andre, for producer Steve, go out there, win some monies in Showdown, get some money won on week 17. And if you have best ball teams or if you're in your home league's championship, I hope you win. Unless you're playing against me, we will catch you next time. Peace.